welcome to another VTF live session. Today is September 23rd and this is our week 2 recap or week 2 VTF live. We're going to cover a recap of week 1, what our interns have done in last week. We're going to talk about what they have done this week, and we're going to give you information about how you can follow along and how you can actually go in and learn from the resources we have created for our interns, so you can also benefit from those. My name is Victor Monga. I have been fortunate enough to be one of the co-founders of Virtually Testing Foundation. At VTF, we have this mindset that everyone deserves a chance to gain hands-on cybersecurity experience. All entry-level jobs are requiring experience. All of these internships are scalable and flexible timing for you, and they are provided to you at no cost. A little bit about VTF Foundation or Virtually Testing Foundation. It is a very unique non-profit organization where it is volunteer run, which means all of the people who work here actually get to explore and enhance their all sorts of skills, not just technical, but also management. Also, they get to improve their presentation skills. Also, they get to really work on their confidence. So again, VTF is the first and only, honestly, unique volunteer-run nonprofit organization who's offering cybersecurity internships. So what our interns do at VTF, it is literally for the benefit of themselves and the community. VTF is not selling any product, solution, service, or not even data. So at the end of the day, whatever the task that VTF interns are performing or volunteers are actually going through, it is all for the benefit of interns, community, and our volunteers. We have outgrown ourselves. We have about 30,000 members globally currently, and it's increasing by the day. Now, our mission is really to continue to provide these internships and help you everybody to grow from education side to professional side. So our vision is invest in any and all resources that will provide quality learning experience. Well, what was week 1 at VTF, which was last week? So our interns in beginner internship have gone through cybersecurity foundations. Each week is divided into multiple tasks. One is cybersecurity, where they work on technical skills. Also, they learn about business etiquettes. Also, they learn about how to really increase their network, professional network, and increase their network visibility. So once again, at VTF, it's not just about the technical skills. We really try to put the knowledge, the technical education that students or professionals have learned through either a formal education from schools, universities, college, or even online trainings, to put into practice. You may know how to actually go in and run a penetration test, and you've watched a video and you've gone through the course, but the whole process of getting actual authorization, then working in a team, then actually going through the process of performing a penetration testing, and then finally presenting the reports, and what else is there? So once again, all of these steps will really put your education, your knowledge to put in practice so that you can be successful at a job or even start your own business and be an entrepreneur. So again, week 1, just a quick recap. If you've not watched the VTF live last week, there is going to be a link here, but ultimately the goal here at VTF is to really start with why, not what and how. We started with why are we doing it. So week 1, we try to provide the insights that why, as a professional, as a cybersecurity defender, why are we doing it? So we went through great different options such as MITRE ATT&CK, Defend, Navigator, so that you can really understand the tactics, techniques, and the procedures, how an adversary is thinking about it, how actually going in and getting the insights. It's almost like you're getting a blueprint of an attack, how the attacker is gonna perform an attack on you, which is again very good, because winning the battle is knowing the adversary's plan, and that's what's going on here. So using MITRE ATT&CK, our interns were able to actually go in and see different tactics and techniques, and they were able to actually really understand why it is important to defend, why it is important when we set up those security controls, why it is important that the companies have those guardrails. Using MITRE ATT&CK, MITRE Defend, MITRE Navigator, they were able to not only see the why, the TTPs, the techniques, the heat map, really look at the gap as well, that what you have currently in place and what you need to be able to mature, or even as simple as that you're trying to be proactively make sure that any attacks against, let's say, APT41 or Sandworm or Wizard Spider APTs, that they are protected, or you are protected from against those attacks. Using MITRE ATT&CK, people were able to see it. Using Navigator, they were able to put the heat maps, and finally using Defend, they were able to see the gaps. Now, all of these are technical information and they're all good and well, but business etiquettes, that's where our internships are really unique and really provide a value to our interns, because not only they understand the technical aspects of it, we started with the why, they also understand the business etiquette, such as how do you create a report? As simple as if someone or your manager is asking you that, hey, go in and create a procedure, go in and create a document that how do we do this, deploy this and the other. APA guidelines format. Maybe you may ask them that, hey, should I go in and create this document according to APA guidelines? The information you will understand using APA guidelines are priceless. It is something that really make you distinguish professional from a student life. So again, APA guidelines format, they had to go in and really create a report, submit it. Our mentors and volunteers were able to see it, grade them, give them feedback so they can really improve it. Finally, this is one of the things that I've always been advocating, that make sure your LinkedIn, Twitter profiles are up to date. So week one, we encouraged our interns to go in, update their LinkedIn and Twitter. You may not have anything in there, but you might have gone through some trainings or school or education. And the most important, in experience, we asked them to put their VTF experience, because that is really important. Now, next time when someone is actually looking for a job, their LinkedIn and Twitter profile is not going to look blank. Or if someone is actually looking for you to check that your background, how active you are, who are you connected with, all of that is part of LinkedIn and Twitter. I see LinkedIn as an online resume, honestly. That's where your education, your experience, your peers, your activities are really as a running catalog. Anyone can go in and look at LinkedIn and Twitter and really decide who I am, where I've been professionally, and what are my thoughts about different aspects of cybersecurity. If you had missed week one content and would like to get access to it, you can go to VTF.academy. All of the resources, the PDFs, the YouTube links we have created, all of that is there. And if you see a value in engaging the current interns, you can also go to and join our VTF Discord server. Again, none of this is mandatory. None of this is required for you. This is something that we have already created for our interns, and we want to give it out to the community so that you can benefit as well. Now let's talk about MITRE ATT&CK. Why is it a big deal? Why did we put it as week one? Well, personal story. About 10 years ago, I was interviewing for a position, and the CISO asked me, "Hey, how do you, as a defender, as a cybersecurity professional, would be able to tell me where my security gaps are, the control gaps are?" And I was like, well, you can go in and look at your configuration in firewall or antivirus, or if you have a SIEM solution, which was kind of the new at that point. So I said log management. All of those were, I think, wrong answers. If someone is asking me that question today, I'm gonna say, looking at MITRE ATT&CK framework, we can really understand what you have today versus what you wanna be and the gap. So this is really important for our someone new joining into the industry or someone transitioning into professional life, that what is MITRE ATT&CK framework and all the good work that they do, they are putting there out there for a community, and we really want to make sure that you understand how to leverage MITRE ATT&CK. Along with, there are things such as Atomic Red Team, where you can go in and actually detonate ART, Atomic Red Team, and look at your security controls, your security gaps, and tweak those firewalls or antivirus or EDR or SIEM or whatever the security solutions you have to benefit your organization, to protect your organization, to make sure that you are not missing out on any of the known attacks, and continue to validate the security controls. That's where the value is. I think as a professional, you really add a value where you can go up to your manager, director, CISO, and tell them that I have a plan. I know how to actually validate our security controls and really understand where the gaps are. So if you've not seen it before, I would highly encourage you to go and attack.mitre.org. You will see the techniques, tactics. You can click on it, and that will be the TTP, and really understand how the different stages of attack work. All of this is really important as a professional, as someone getting into this business and this industry. I wish I knew that 10, 20 years ago, how to actually articulate my story about security and really talk to not only practitioners, to the leaders as well. This is giving you the confidence that you can walk into a job or even as entrepreneur and talk to a security leader, as a security professional, and really talk to them about where their gaps are, where the security actually running for the organization. Well, that was all recap for week 1. Let's talk about week 2. Now, vulnerability management, SIEM solution, log management. This is really important. That's kind of the dovetail of that understanding where the gaps are. Now, we do need to make sure that we are understanding where the gaps are and how do we detect it. That's where vulnerability assessment, vulnerability mitigation, vulnerability management comes into light. And all of that is, we are tying it back to the log management or security incident event management, so that you as a professional, again, sitting at the table, you can tell them that if we have seen vulnerabilities, well, how are we actually collecting the logs? How do we detect it? We may not have a perfect solution today. How do we put it compensating controls around it? So week 2, our interns are learning about vulnerability management, and this is from SANS vulnerability maturity model. Our interns are really going through all of this and understanding what are the key metrics in cloud and enterprise. How do we go in and look at vulnerability management maturity model? So when you start your job, first thing you need to go ask, how do we actually check our vulnerabilities? Because that's where our attack surface is exposed to be exploited from attackers. If you don't know what your problems are, how can you solve it? How can you fix it? So our interns are going through this vulnerability assessment, management, mitigation, and we're tying it all back to log management. Really, we're trying to actually enable our interns to understand when vulnerability management cannot be alone, cannot be siloed. This does tie back to the SIEM and log management. So what is the patch process? How do we detect if it's been patched or not? What are the implementation and resolution capabilities? So there's a lot goes into vulnerability management, and there are different courses, different videos, different reading material that we have at VTF.academy. Now, as I said, it's really important for us to first start with the fundamental of attack framework and then get into vulnerability management and understand How do we assess our vulnerabilities today? What do we do when we have found the vulnerabilities? How do we mitigate that? So one example, that's simple, free solution Nmap. We scan the whole subnet and we look at all the ports. That could be one of the cheapest, simplest, easiest to begin with if you have nothing in place. But that's not it, right? It's just one step. So our interns are also getting into how do I actually mature it? How do I actually go in and add the value and really starting to understand the vulnerability management as a process? Our interns are also going through Splunk courses. Week 2, our technology partner is Splunk. All VTF interns are getting free Splunk courses, and they get to learn about log management. They get to learn about security incident and event management. They get to learn about Splunk programming language, SPL. Again, all of this is not just about one vendor or one product. It's really about getting you aware, getting you familiar with what is log management. How do you do it? How do you run the query? Once you have the logs, then what do you do? Getting logs is not the hardest part. Making it use is the hardest. How do you filter things? So they're learning about Splunk. As I said, technical aspects are great, but at VTF internship, there are other 2 aspects. One of them is meeting etiquettes, which is again going back to business etiquettes. If you are in a meeting, and today's world is all about online meetings, well, you need to join online, on time. A lot of times we have seen, oh, I was running late, or I was grabbing coffee, water, whatever that is. Well, grab it 5 minutes earlier, or plan it accordingly. The point is, even if it's online, you still have to show up on time. Other etiquettes, such as when you're joining, if you have a background noise, if you're drinking, eating, or even if you're not talking, just mute your mic. That's simple. Why do you want to add the background noise if you're not talking? When you are talking, obviously, unmute yourself and express yourself. But if you're not, then just keep it muted. Pay attention. That's the biggest part. And I would even go out on a limb here and say, turn on your video, because that's going to force you to pay attention. I have caught myself when I'm not on video, I try to look at my phone, or I'm starting to write something. Turn on your video. Pay attention to someone who's talking. It might be boring to you right now, but it might add a value. They might be giving information, something that later on you needed, and you might ask that, hey, what about that? And they'll be like, we covered that in the meeting. That's going to make you look unprofessional. We don't want that. At VTF, our goal is also to make sure that you understand what does it mean being professional. That means paying attention to the details. That means paying attention to the information you may need it. That means paying attention and writing down the notes. All of those things are important. Well, how do you speak confidently? Well, if I'm not confident, I'm not going to be able to speak loudly. I might just whisper. We don't want that for you. We're going to get you the confidence of speaking in front of public audience. I'm not talking about 500 people, but across your team of 5 or 10, at least you're confident enough to share your plan, your ideas. You might have the best idea on the planet, but if you can't share, if you can't speak, if you can't actually go in and express yourself, that really going to prolong your success. We want to put you on a trajectory that's going to get you success right away the minute you step into that door after this internship. Ask great questions. Don't ask the simple questions which they have already been covered. Ask the questions about either it could be something that the team had not thought about. Ask for something that it's not clear to you. Don't nod and say yes because someone is speaking. If it's not understandable, or if it's not actually really simple and clear, you can ask your coworker, your manager, so that you are clear about the information. Participate. That's simple. Show them that you're there. Tell them that you're there. This is your place as well. You being in the meeting also means that you need to cover that space. So actively participate. Finally, again, I cannot stress enough that you need to be really engaged and active on your professional networks. I don't talk about Facebook and Snapchat, Instagram, because to me that's not professional. LinkedIn is professional in my opinion. Yes, there are exceptions. I've seen some personal posts, but that's fine. At the end of the day, LinkedIn and Twitter, in my opinion, are for cybersecurity professionals, because Twitter, that's where I get my latest and greatest security news, but LinkedIn is where I keep my running resume. So once again, whatever you're learning, whatever you're going through this week and the other, try to post something. Try to actually share your opinion about it. So last week was about MITRE, this week is about log management with Splunk. So share your opinions, what you're learning, how this is helping you. Finally, why professional networking is important. With online era of working, with remote working, we really want to make sure that you all understand professional networking is very important. Professional networking is going to get you the job, make sure that you actually stay in the job, and even when you're in trouble, when you need a little nudge, or when you just need someone to bounce off ideas, professional networking is going to help you. I cannot stress enough, being in community, growing your professional networking is so important. It's such an important aspect. It's almost imperative at this point if you don't have a social presence as a professional. If you're not sharing your thoughts, you can pick any engaged and active or someone you look up to in tech world. I bet you they have a social presence. In a professional world, I don't again care about Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, or any other social media platform kids are using these days, but LinkedIn and Twitter are your places that you need to grow. Well, folks, we started with the week 1 recap. We continued talking about week 2. Once again, if you want to get access to any of these collateral and the content we have created for our interns, just point your browser to VTF.academy and you'll be able to access it. With that, thank you very much. We really hope to see you for our next VTF Live next week. Until then, stay engaged with VTF members, interns, and continue to add value back to the community and for yourself. Thank you very much.